Hello and welcome back to Papa B's Old Time Repair and Restoration. I'm Mike, and today we're going to do another catch-up video. I know it's been probably close to a month since I've posted the last video, but I've been busy in the shop, so what we're going to do today is just show you what's going on, not only with the DI, but we're going to include a couple other things that we've been working on. So appreciate y'all following along, appreciate y'all subscribing, liking, and thanks for watching. Well, as you saw in the opening of the last video, we had the AR in the background and it was in yellow buff primer. We have made a little bit of progress on it, at least the main part of it is green, and if you'll come in closer, we'll show you a few things of what we've gotten done so far. We've started back together with at least the front part of this. As you can see, we've got the radiator, the fan, the carburetor. We've got the mag, plugs, plug wires, the gauges, and the steering wheel on. Now I have already fitted the fenders and will include a couple of still photographs of the fenders on the tractor. When I received this tractor to work on, there were no fenders on it. So the fenders that came with it had never been fitted. So it took us a little bit of time to get all of that done, but we got them to fit pretty nicely. So all of that stuff has been removed and taken off, and we're waiting for a good time to get that painted. And as you can see over here, I've got a lot of parts for the AR in red primer, and I'm just doing that to get the final body work and things done on that, and then as soon as I'm finished with that, we'll seal it with the yellow buff primer before we put the green on. But we got the platform here, some assorted floorboards, fender braces, and the fenders themselves. So we've made some progress there. Over here on the floor, we've got the last load of parts to come back from the sandblaster. I picked these up yesterday, and so we'll get these in primer just as soon as possible. You might take a look at this drawbar. This is the worst thing that I've got to deal with in this pile of parts. This poor drawbar, the swinging part of it, has been welded and fabricated on and broken, repaired, and so that's probably going to be one of the very last things that I tackle on this tractor. So that's where we are on the AR project. I apologize for not showing more of that, but it's been a paying job, and time is of the essence on it. So we'll try to include some more odds and ends on this as we get closer. Where we left off on the last episode of the DI, if you'll remember, we got the block off, and we still had the pistons stuck in the block. We still had the camshaft, the cam followers, and some other assorted things left in the crankcase. But I have worked on it a little bit, and if you'll come over here and take a look, the only thing that's left in the crankcase is the crankshaft itself and the oil filter housing. And you can look up here, and so I haven't really been working on this very much, but because I've been concentrating on the AR more than anything. But hopefully soon, especially with the weather being like it is, and I can't paint without moving across town to the paint booth, we'll probably be starting on more of this, starting with taking the crankshaft out of the crankcase, and that's going to be a job in itself for one guy. So anyway, that's kind of where we are on the DI. And you might have remembered that I mentioned that I was going to need to pick up a donor tractor. So that has been done. So let's step outside and let's take a look at that and see what we got to help put this DI back together. All right, now we're outside, and here it is. Here's the donor tractor, the 1934D that I found close to home. And you may be asking, well, that's probably not going to work for the DI. Well, since it's a 34, all of the engine components were the same. The DI is the 36, but the engine components in here were the same. Now you may notice this right here, the yellow block. When I got this tractor, it wasn't complete by any means, but this is the block off the DI. And the pistons, I have removed the pistons out of that, but the front axle was off of the tractor. There was no block on this tractor. The crankshaft cam, gear train, everything was in. And this tractor had been stored inside for a good number of years, probably at least 15 years. So everything in the crankcase was in really good shape. But since I had gotten the pistons out of the block on the DI, I thought, well, why not? We'll just come out here and we'll just slip this on here, put the front axle support back on it, and I've at least got it to where I can move it around. But we got some really nice stuff with this tractor. Like I said, this tractor was not complete. The radiator was not there. The air cleaner was not with it. We did not find the fan shaft or the upper water pipe assembly. But as you can see, it's got a really nice set of steel on the back of it, in front of it. And it came with a lot of extra parts. And we'll show you those extra parts here in just a moment. I thought I'd show you something else that I picked up when I went up and picked up that 34. This was at the same place that was up there, and you're probably thinking, oh great, he's got another D for a project. But this one is kind of special, and I'll bring you around back and I'll show you what I've got. Well, if you'll take a look here at the back and the platform, you'll see what makes this D so special. This D has turning brakes on it. It's also got the emergency brake lever right here to set both brakes at once. But when I saw it, I thought, well, I better have that for the stable. The tractor is stuck, and as you saw, the rubber is no good on it. But these with turning brakes don't come along that often. So I'm glad to have it. Don't know when we'll get started on it, but I think this may be something that we just try to get running and just have a good time with. Okay, I mentioned outside that we got a lot of nice stuff with that 34D out there, and I'm going to show you some of it right now. The first, probably the biggest ticket item, is there was a brand new set of sheet metal with that 34 out there. So we got 2 new fenders, and we got a new hood, and it's got a little bit of tarnish on it, but I think it'll clean up all right. But yeah, these are really nice. Got an excellent fuel tank. This tank has been ran, but the inside of this tank looks just like this galvanization here. This is an exceptionally nice tank. So that came with it. Some of the other parts that we got with the 34 if you'll remember in the last video how bad the suction pickup screen was. You see we got a nice one of those. It's really nice. The gearing in that 34 was exceptionally good. Crank gear, which is still on the crank, cam gear, idler, and the governor gear, which I haven't shown you, but it's equally as good. The only set of gearing that I still need to pick up for this tractor will be the fan shaft and the fan shaft drive gear. So we'll be looking for that. I do have some parts intermixed with what I got with the 34. Right here, this is the DI, the rocker cover, and the upper water pipe that came off of the DI. This is the torque arms that go on the backs of the it's the brake backing plate there. It goes there. This is one of the axle housings and axles that I went to Ohio and picked up. And back over there I've got that second axle assembly. I've just got the wheel center off of that, inspecting that, but the linings look really good on that. They're greasy, but we may have to replace those and may not. But some of the other things, even though these parts are intermixed with the DI parts that I did get with the 34, is there are 2 block assemblies, there are 2 head assemblies, there is a belt pulley assembly with all of the clutch components in there. There was a couple extra camshafts in there, and in the red tub back here I've got 2 piston rod assemblies here that are standard bore. I've got several 45 over pistons in that bucket as well. And I will say one of these blocks I believe would run. It's only miking about 5 thousandths over, so it's a good candidate to run. This other one is 23, 25 thousandths over, so it will need to be bored, but that's for another day. Plus, I guess the last thing I haven't shown is got a box of gaskets with it as well. So got a lot of nice stuff with the 34 tractor out there. I might mention that these are the wheel centers that came off of the axles that I went to Ohio for. So we've still got some work to do to those. Okay, for our last stop today, I brought you out here to the last D tractor that I do have. And I mentioned that the 34 might have been an odd choice to be a donor tractor for the 36 DI. But what I didn't bring to the story is this. That 34 tractor out there is still a 2-speed tractor. And the transmission is bad in this 1930D. That kind of swayed my decision to go ahead and pick up the 34, because not only could I use the engine parts in the DI, I could use the transmission over here. So don't know when we'll ever get to this tractor, but it's nice to know that I do have parts available for it. Plus, I believe the rear steel is the correct steel for this tractor. So I do have a set of mismatched steel on the back of this. So I guess that's about it. And from both Susie and I here at Papa B's Old Time Repair and Restoration, we'd like to wish you all a Merry Christmas. And remember that Jesus is the reason for the season. So we'll just keep on plugging away here, and we'll catch you next time on Papa B's Old Time Repair and Restoration.